Down here at the wood yard this morning, I'm going to stack and sticker some more of this white pine, but it's another hot one. It's hot already. It's been a long time since we've had a summer like this. It's just constant heat and humidity. But what I've been doing, I mentioned this the other day, and it seems to be working for me. I'll hit it hard till about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then find something to do inside. Like I'll do editing and stuff like that in the air conditioning, maybe even get a shower, and then I kind of start second shift later in the day, like 4:30, and then work into the evening, and it makes it more tolerable. I got the rest of that pine stacked up. What we have here is 344 board feet at, say, $1.25 a board foot. That's the most you're going to get out of this stuff. $430 worth of wood right there. That's a lot of work for 430 bucks. I've been talking about this a lot lately because I have definitely come to the conclusion that there's just not a lot of money in softwoods for a small operation. Now, it depends on your location and things like that. And if you're a big outfit that does big volumes, that's how they make their money. Like that Cummins lumber where I got the tongue and groove pine for down at the cabin. I mean, pre-finished, end matched. It's phenomenal product, and there is no way I could do it for close to what they can because they do so much volume. You know what I'm saying? And the stuff is beautiful. I'll put a link to them in the description if you're looking for some good tongue and groove, or if you want to spend a bunch of time and money and try to do it yourself, you can do that as well. But I'm telling you, the older I get, the more that I find it's better to use people and companies that do this kind of stuff every day because they're just better at it and cheaper. So I just thought of something. This is a good comparison. This is interesting. This stack of lumber right here, 344 board feet. You know, I think I can get $1.25 for it if I were to sell it. That's a stretch though. A lot of the Amish mills sell it for $1 a board foot. So say $344 for all of that work, okay? One basket of bundled firewood right there. That's all oak, no bark, premium firewood right there. There's probably, let's figure it out. So there's 128 cubic feet in a cord. About 3 of those baskets equals a cord. So we're at 42.66 cubic feet in one of those baskets right there. We sell big bundles for $7.50 per bundle, okay? So 42 times 7.5, $320. You get 320 bucks out of one basket of firewood, or 344 bucks out of this big stack of lumber right here. Now, you know, the walnuts, the cherries, the oaks, that's a different story. But just something to think about. And while I'm down here, I want to address a couple questions that I get quite often. A guy the other day, he was asking me about this sawmill. It's a cantilever design. You know, some of them are a 4-post design, like my LX 150 that I had. It had another support on the other side. This, you got the engine, everything, it's a cantilever design. And he asked if it cuts true, if I ever have any problems with it. None at all. It works fantastic. But to be honest, I thought the same thing that he did. That's why I originally got the LX 150, is because of that design. This just doesn't look right, you know, but it works for thousands and thousands of hours. They've been building these like this forever, and they're super accurate. You have no problems with them at all. But believe me, I felt the same way. Just looking at it, it looks like, you know, you would get some sag, your boards wouldn't, I mean, it just doesn't look like it would work as good as it does. But the proof is in the pudding. All these stacks of lumber, they look like this for 2 reasons. Number 1, I'm pretty good at stacking lumber. It's one of the things I can do well. But number 2, and more importantly, all this lumber is perfect. My stickers are all the same dimensions. All my 4/4 stuff, my 6/4, my 8/4, it's all the same thickness. And that's why these stacks look like they do. If that mill was off at all, there is no way you could make it look like this. It's just not going to happen. The other question I get all the time, I mean every day, 5-6 people. Actually, I probably get questions about sawdust, whether a comment or an email, 15, 20, maybe even 25 times a day. Like, what do we do with it? Or why don't I make wood pellets out of it? Or I need a sawdust collection system. A lot of questions about sawdust. I'm not sure why. I focus more on the lumber than the sawdust. But to answer some of those questions, we don't sell it or give it away because I don't know what people are going to do with it. And we saw a lot of walnut, which is a bad thing for horse bedding. You definitely don't want to have walnut in there, and it's mixed in with it, so I don't want to deal with that. The wood pellets, there's no way for the little amount that I do, I could justify doing that. That would be like me trying to get into the bark mulch business when you have people like Adler and Sons, where I get these logs from, that just do triaxle load after triaxle load in no time at all. You have to pick your battles, you know what I mean? Same thing goes with a sawdust collection system. If I was really getting after it, if we were working, you know, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week sawing lumber, I'd definitely have a sawdust collection system. You just have to keep everything in perspective, you know? Like, all this wood right here, all this that you see right here, that generates quite a bit of sawdust, but it probably took, all total, 45 minutes to clean that sawdust up. And like I said, putting things in perspective, it takes me 2 hours to edit one video. Do you know what I'm saying? So if I had a big operation and I was really cranking out the lumber, I would definitely have some type of sawdust collection system so you didn't have to deal with it. Just like the big mills do. They have to have something because they're going to spend a lot of time doing it. We don't have to spend a lot of time cleaning it up. So those are some of the answers to the sawdust questions. But anyway, it's barely 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm already sweating. They're calling for 90% chance of rain this afternoon. I got to do some mowing here and down at my mom's place. And then we're probably going to saw some more lumber. I'd also like to put the brush cutter on the mini skid and mow some trails with that. Maybe even the tractor and the flail mower. We're just going to have to see how the weather holds up and how I hold up in the heat. All right, so Levi and I just sawed a sacrificial log there. We're gonna make more pallets out of this. They work pretty handy. We make different styles and different types, but we're learning as we go, finding what works the best. We were putting like a 2-inch thick runner on the bottom so you can get the forks under it, and then a 2x4 right above that. But I think we're gonna just use 2-inch on the bottom, 2-inch on top. That way we can either lift the whole lift of lumber with the pallet, or we can lift the lift of lumber off of the pallet, because 1.5 inches is about the exact thickness of the forks on the big skid loader. So if you have 2-inch on top, 2-inch in bottom, you have 2 different options.
I won't let you go. You know I love when you give me sharp waves. Baby, just as wrong. But I'm just cold. But I'm just cold.
All right, got all the mowing done down at my mom's place and at our place. And while I was doing that, Levi got this pallet built right here. They're pretty heavy duty, but they'll last a long time. And there is some additional weight there. I mean, the pine's not that heavy, but the big skid loader, you can lift huge, huge stacks of lumber with it. Well, I got the grass cut just in time. A bit of a rain delay. It's almost over, I think, but we had a real gully washer there. It was putting it down. We've been getting a lot of those storms. Not as bad as a lot of you, but still, we've been getting a lot of rain. When I was down at my mom's place mowing, I saw a bird, and I don't think I've ever seen one before. I took several pictures of it, and I sent it to Levi. He thought he knew what it was, and he double-checked to confirm, but it was a green heron. And it was a juvenile. It was a young one, kind of a goofy looking little thing, had a real long neck on it. And speaking of wildlife, remember the no-eared deer? We had this little fawn around here. Doesn't have any ears, just this little white fuzz. Well, it would be 1.5 years old now, and I hadn't seen it for a while. I was starting to worry about it. Something may have happened to it, but I saw it yesterday, and it turns out it's a buck. It is. It's a goofy looking thing. It's got 2 spikes now, about 8 inches tall and no ears. It always stayed real close to the house, but it seems the older he's getting a little bit more elusive. At some point, I'm sure I'll get a couple pictures of him, but it's a crazy looking thing. It is. No ears and 2 spikes. A lot of thunder to the north, but I think it's just about over. Our power went out just for a couple minutes, not long at all. Well, this is the 4th round of storms. I hope this is the last one, but we have had inches and inches of rain today. I would say tomorrow morning we're gonna go down to the pond, but I will be surprised if it's still there. I went by it just the other day, and that standpipe was plugged up again. So what that means is the water is probably going over the dam and eroding it all. And we probably got 4 inches of rain today, at least. It's been kind of spread out though. Listen to that thunder. It's been spread out, like we'll get like an inch of rain, an hour later, another inch of rain. So maybe it's not as bad as what I think, but it probably is. All right, so this morning we're gonna head down to the pond. Hopefully it's not the former pond. We got 5 inches of rain yesterday. Now, there was a lot of localized flooding, a lot of roads closed, flooded basements, things like that. But the good news was it came like in 5 different waves. So we got like an inch of rain, 45 minutes or an hour later, another inch of rain. It was a big mess. And like I said earlier in this video, the other day I went down to the pond and that standpipe was plugged up again. And I don't know. I will be shocked if there's not some major damage. It's just one of those things. Looks like I got to move the excavator. Got wood everywhere. Baskets, bulk. Been a decent buck hanging out down in here. I've seen him twice so far. Got him on video the other day by old Blueford, but he's got some more growing to do. Should be a pretty good one by this fall. Oh boy, there's still water in the pond. I can see it. That's the good news. I'm sure it's running over the dam. I can guarantee it. Looks like a big old bowl of chocolate milk from all the sediment that washed in. Oh my. Would you look at that? We'll go over to the dam here in a minute. Last year, just last year, I had this all benched down in here. I actually left some logs in here so I can sit on that with the excavator, but I cleaned all the sediment out at the back end of the pond here. I took a lot of material out, and if you can see right over in there, we'll walk down there. Here's where those logs are that I left in here. So I can come right out here and clean that out, which is something that I should do when I fix the drainage situation. Because what happens, this was all cleaned out, okay? And this just keeps working its way across. So you get those heavy rains, it brings the sediment in. As the water starts to slow down, the sediment drops. And then it just keeps dropping over the edge and will eventually fill in the pond. Ponds in the woods are a pain in the neck. I'm telling you right now. Don't get me wrong, they're nice to have and they're pretty and there's fish in there and the wildlife like it and all that kind of stuff. But you have so much leaf litter, debris, sticks. We have all these steep hills, valleys. It's just very difficult to manage when you have a pond in the woods. If you had one, you know, out in the middle of a field, it would be a lot easier to maintain than one in the woods. Here's that pile of sediment that I took out of the pond last year. We've been working out of it a little bit. Levi used some, we used some. We put some in Melissa's garden beds, put some of that down, and just a few bags of good topsoil on top. But it's getting all covered up in that Japanese stilt grass now. Oh boy, it's still here, barely. You can see where it came over the dam. That road down below it is completely gone. Can't cross it right now. But the standpipe, it's out in here somewhere. We're gonna go down below and see if anything at all is coming out of it. But yeah, this thing's filled to the brim. Before winter, I'm gonna at least put a new pipe in here. Not a regular standpipe. I'll come over here in the corner like in natural ground and just put an overflow pipe in somewhere over in here. I like to keep it in natural ground, you know. I'll put the pipe in, put some bentonite around it, and it should be pretty good. And then we'll drain it down here. Then down below, I've got another pipe crossing the road down there. Yeah, this thing, oh man. I can't believe it's still here, to tell you the truth. It was probably around 15 years ago. No, might have been 20 years ago at this point. I redid this pond. It was here since probably the 40s, and it was completely filled in with sediment. There was really no pond here at all. And I hauled hundreds and hundreds of loads out of here. It's back when I worked heavy highway construction. My employer, real good guy, he lent me an old Cat 215 excavator, and I was able to dig this all out. It was quite a job. It was evenings and weekends, took about 6 weeks. Had an old dump truck, and we hauled all this out of here and redid the pond. But like I said, that was already like 20 years ago. If you can keep the sediment out of it from that end, you can kind of stay ahead of it. Like I said, that's how it fills in. It starts in the back, works its way across. So when I redid this, it hadn't been done for decades, and it was completely filled in with just like a stream going through the middle of it. And I dug everything out, put a new standpipe in. That was a mistake. I'll never put another standpipe in. You see so many of them put in that way. You know, I have a pipe in here that goes down. There's a 90, goes through the breastwork. I'll never do that again. We've had animals down in there. You get sticks, debris. I had a trash rack on it. None of that matters. But yeah, I'm thinking somewhere over in this corner will be a great place. I need more pipe over here, but it's in good natural ground over here as opposed to digging through the dam. That's what we'll do. If it dries up for 3-4 days in a row, we're gonna come fix this pond. We'll drain it down some with a siphon system, put the pipe in, call it good, and maybe go back there and dig that sediment out. Dress up the dam, get it all fixed up so you can mow it again. Call it good for a few more years. All right, looking at this, I would say we're about 4 or 5 more heavy rainfalls away from total failure here. What happens is, this is all real good clay. You know, there's a little bit of rock mixed in there. Real good clay. But as that water washed over the dam here, it's eroding back. Once it erodes, you know, back to in here somewhere, the whole thing's just gonna let go. So I definitely got to get this fixed. Man, you should see what it looks like down there. Yeah, this is, you look at that. It's only another 6-7 feet. That is crazy. Power of water. That's only 7 or 8 feet to the pond. Yeah, we got to get this fixed. I'm dragging my feet too long on this one. Look at this. That's the other problem here. The whole thing's undermined. I'm not going to walk down in there, but there's the drain pipe for the pond. There is still water coming out of it, literally just a trickle. I mean, not much at all. It's all plugged up, blocked up. When I redo this and put another pipe in, we'll just go up top. That's what I'll do. I need to plug that completely once the new pipe is in. Yeah, we got quite a mess on our hands here. I'm gonna get an idea how much pipe I need. Sometime in the next couple days, I'm gonna get a siphon going on this pond, drain it down a good 2 feet. It'll take quite a bit because there's so much water still coming into it. Because you can't just start digging through here to put a pipe in. That water would just come ripping through there, erode out your ditch, and it would just be a big mess. So that's the plan. Next couple days I gotta get a siphon on this thing. I think it's supposed to be relatively dry the next couple days. So I would say, yeah, 2 days we'll get the siphon going, get the water level dropped, and then it will all depend on the weather. I'll go get my pipe in the next day or two, have everything that I need, and then we can jump on it whenever the weather permits. You know, it's crazy when you think about it, all the flooding. This pond right here only drains probably about 25 or 30 acres. Okay, so you have about 25 or 30 acres that rainfall hits on, and it all comes to this spot right here. Now imagine 100 square miles, how much water that is. But anyway, not much I can do down here today, but I need to make this a priority. All right, I'm back up the building now, but anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. You can expect to see some pond content here in the near future. Hopefully we don't get any more real bad storms between now and when I can get started. Right now we just need things to kind of settle down a little bit, get a siphon system set up, and then go from there. But anyway, I appreciate y'all being here, I really do. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing, and we will catch you on the next one.